Hello, Maddie, also known as Hello Interloper here. Today we're going to be going over the special pickup hatcher that was just released. But first of all, I just would like to say to everybody living in the United States, I hope that you had a happy 4th. To everyone else, I just hope that you had a happy weekend. So, anyway, the special pickup, is basically just a hatcher that gives you a chance of getting the new 6 stars. And when I say new 6 stars, they are units that previously had a maximum of a 5-star awakening, but now they've been given a 6-star form. So, in other words, these units aren't especially special. They could be in any hatcher, pretty much. So, that's where this comes in. My recommendation, do not pull this hatcher at all. Now, of course, I'm sure other people might have different opinions about that, but personally, because all of these units could be just pulled from a regular hatcher, just about any other hatcher, it's not worth pulling this one just to have the new 6-star form, especially if we look at Thetis. Her 6-star form is only rated a 60-something, which is relatively low as far as the tier list goes. You can see the full tier list over on the subreddit, and even more full tier list if you use Game 8, which is the Japanese site, and translate it into English. The best you can, at least. Google Translate does a fairly good job, but some of the names are not directly translated, so you kind of have to guess. For instance, Fures is full of a person in English, which is a little confusing, but you can just navigate mostly by inputting the tribes or the, if it's an offense, stamina, whatever type, and finding it that way. But either way, the 4 different units are Toshizo Hijikata, who has a 6-star form now, that gives the preceding unit a skill gauge raised by 1, yellow and damage panels to green, green attack recovery mass boost for 2 turns, and she can use that every 6 turns, which is pretty nice. Massive damage to all enemies, ultra effect against unidentified units, and protect break. As you can see, she is an offense type, so she has fairly low recovery, although the attack and recovery will be boosted by the skill. But in general, she's definitely mainly focused towards offense. HP and offensive skill are pretty okay. And we get a Mystic Destroyer Hajime Saito. I don't know how to say that. Technical type. I would say, like, the stats are rather balanced, not really that great. I mean, I've definitely seen better. Double Lightning Fang, preceding unit skill gauge raised by 1, which is the same thing as the previous unit. Blue panels to yellow bombs, and extra tap for yellow units 2 turns. I would say that's a little more useful because of the extra tap for 2 turns for yellow units. That actually seems pretty darn helpful. Massive damage to all enemies, ultra effect against samurai units. That seems very niche there. Niche, whatever. It's one of those words that nobody really uses in real life. You kind of read it and you're like, I don't know how to pronounce that. And then damage panel breakage. Then Furious Flame Prometheus. You probably remember this guy as your very first humanoid unit that you actually defeat in the tutorial. Scarlet Obliterating Fire removes counters, massive damage to 1 enemy, ultra attack if no counters, plus for 3 turns reduce enemy defense to 0. That seems to be oddly useful because there's a lot of units that do a defense boost that is basically unpenetrable. Deep Scarlet Flame, high damage to 1 enemy, high effect against green units, which is a little confusing because if it's high damage and then high effect, isn't that technically the same thing? Must be weird wording. But yeah, stamina type, that's a pretty good attack stat for an offensive, for a stamina type. Recovery is super low, though, can destroy junk panels. And then we have Thetis, who has Holy Ocean Kiss, convert timer and green panels to blue, 3 turns party, recovery massive boost, massive damage to one enemy based on own max HP, virus ineffective on self. But from the Game 8 ratings, I know she's rated a 60-something. I think it was 65. I'm not entirely sure. You can look it up yourself on Game 8, but just in all honesty, I would not pull any of these because you will be able to get a lower form from just about any other hatcher. There's really no reason to pull this in desperation just to get something that's new, especially because if you look at their cost, usually the cost is reflective of how good a unit is, and here if cost 50, a festival unit will have a cost usually of 55. So these are 50, 50, 45, 45. So these are probably going to generally be lower units. Not exactly that great. I probably bet that they won't be used in like ultimates, but that's just me. That's just me speculating. In general, if you do want to get a hatcher that will benefit your account, wait until a festival, Fever Fest, because you will have a chance at some of the best units in the entire game. And even though it's going to be 500 polygons for a pull, it's usually worth it, especially if you get even just one festival unit. Festival units are usually usable in at least one ultimate wizard team, You'll be able to get a lot further in the game with festival units than you will with 5 average units, Just because that festival unit will replace so many others. So, just in general, probably not a good idea to pull it. And, yeah. That's just my opinion on that. Anyway, hope that all of you are doing well finishing up the Bridal Event. Seems that right now there is 22 hours left. And another little thing to know is the fact that you get 10 polygons for clearing every single difficulty. So if you haven't done that yet, do it now. Because, that's a maximum of 60 polygons just for beating them at every difficulty when you initiate it, not when you go into a multiplayer lobby. Make sure that you also pull all of the bouquets, because the different prizes for pulling each set of bouquets from the bouquet hatcher, they also give polygons and also frogs that give you 1.5 million EXP, so you can bump up a level 1 6-star all the way to I think it's level 80 or 85, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can basically max out quite a few different units just by pulling all the bouquets, and you also get a lot of apples. I've been appling everything in sight, and it's actually been really helpful. So make sure that you bring a max bug unit, if possible, to one of these wizard quests. Although, honestly, the best farming for bouquets I've found is on expert difficulty. And also, if you're on wizard difficulty with a full bug max team, it can get a little shaky sometimes in terms of recovery. You might get a little low on HP, but so technically expert's much quicker to farm, and also you'll just get a lot of bouquets anyway, so it's really not worth it to farm wizard as much as it is to do expert if you're after bouquets. If you're after units, wizard is probably best because you have the highest drop chance. So yeah, make sure that you try to bug max at least one of these units, if not both, because both of them are fairly good for free units. They each definitely have their use. So make sure you do that, and if you haven't yet proposed to your waifu, I managed to evolve my Bastet. So now she's a happy kitty. Yay! I'm so happy. I'm really glad that I at least pulled one of the units from this event, because I was pretty much thinking I was gonna pull another Michaela and get nothing else. So that was pretty fun. So yeah, that's about it. We should be having a ranking event coming soon, and probably, I'm guessing, within the next 7 days, another Fever Festival hatcher. That's just a feeling, because usually there's 1 or 2 a month. We just had Super Fever Festival, so it'll be a normal Fever Festival. Honestly, I don't know the difference between a super and a non-super, but yeah, we'll just have to see. I think the super just means that the more you pull, the more of a chance you get, which, you know, I only usually do 1 pull anyway, because I don't spend money on this other than the monthly subscription, so whatever. Anyway, best of luck to everybody, and we'll see what kind of events come next. See ya.